Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Hilaal Live. Thanks for joining us on channel 347 on DSTV. Now, over the last very many months, we've welcomed and interviewed so many NPOs, NGOs and organizations that make a difference in our beautiful city, in our beautiful country. And one such organization is the Sheika Koutha International Projects, and we've decided to invite the founder, who is Sheika Koutha bint Mohammed Rushdie, into studio to find out a bit more as well. Assalamu alaikum, Sheika. Welcome.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Luqmaan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for taking the time. I always know that when you are part of an organization that sees to the needs of others, you know, your time is not your own in many instances. And I know, you know, coming through for an interview is time that you could utilize elsewhere, so we really appreciate it. For those that don't know about yourself, about some of your wonderful work that you've done in the past, kindly tell us a bit more.
Subhanallah, shukran jazeelan. Assalamu alaikum wa ahlan bikum to yourself and to all our amazing viewers out there in South Africa, wherever they may be. MashaAllah, ahlan bikum. Alhamdulillah, you know, Brother Luqmaan, this is always a difficult question. I don't like to talk about my resume, but alhamdulillah, for the pleasure of Allah. I've been into humanitarian work, public work, alhamdulillah, for over 2.5 decades, alhamdulillah. It goes back with our local Muslim radio stations, public lectures, traveling all over the world to many parts of overseas, alhamdulillah, and achieving what I always wanted to do, because I'm an apartheid child. And I'm coming from an era where I saw, why should I be privileged because of the color of my skin? And then and there I decided I want to do something for humanity. And as a child, I would go into townships, do projects, you know, and special events. And this just gave me the love to reach out to people. And I said, one day, this is what I want to do. I want to develop communities. I want to reach out, change people's lives. So, alhamdulillah, I remember a couple of days ago, I was with Dr. Imtiaz Sulaiman. May Allah reward him also greatly for the sterling work that he does. We were at the inauguration of a new section of the hospital, and we were of the special guest, alhamdulillah. And one of the things that he said, which I always use to people, I say, when you do this kind of work, you usually put the needs of others first. That is what's known as humanitarian. Alhamdulillah. So yes, education, da'wah, projects, humanitarian, that's the name of the game, alhamdulillah.
Okay. And you mentioned a very important aspect of your life is growing up during the apartheid era as well. And I would imagine that some type of activism awareness kicked in during that time?
Absolutely.
And what made you venture into becoming an activist as
well? Like I mentioned, you know, the apartheid struggle, seeing how people have to be oppressed and their rights being denied, subhanallah. And I think that, you know, as a child, people have pure hearts, people have pure minds, and they cannot distinguish, you know, why is somebody not getting what you're supposed to be getting, or what you're getting, why they're not getting it, subhanallah. I mean, going into a white beach is a privilege, because in the apartheid years, it was just unfortunately just like that. So growing up in that environment, I saw the need, and mashallah, that just made me having the hunger and the desire, subhanallah. And ever since, I never looked back. And sometimes my students and my colleagues or my friends say to me, Sheikha, you've achieved such a lot. We should be saying this. I tell them, no. When you do this kind of work, you tell yourself, you're really empty. You haven't achieved many things. You've achieved so little. You still need to carry on, because there's so many people out there that still depend on you. Subhanallah.
One of the interesting things I got to know is you've been a public speaker, motivational speaker as well. And often enough, we don't realize the impact that one makes when you're in that space and the voice that you have. What are some of the projects that you would like to maybe tell ourselves and our viewers about that you've done?
Alhamdulillah, I've done many projects in South Africa, in many parts of the world, in America, UK, London, South Africa. I was also a guest speaker at the World Family Conference, where I won one of my awards as a public speaker. And at that point in time, I was asked to speak in Cape Town. And I remember clearly that the professors and the scientists, they said, please don't give us a lady, you know, that's going to speak and that she doesn't know, if she's a Muslim scholar, what she's speaking about. And then they just came up to me and asked me, would you like to be a guest speaker at the World Conference? And I said, subhanallah, if this is for Allah and for Islam and for humanity, I'm going to accept the invitation.
Continue.
And at the time, Brother Luqmaan, it was so difficult to accept that invitation because it was at the fall of 9/11. And you can imagine the onslaught against Muslim women in hijab and niqab.
Of course.
And I had to go on other radio stations, which was predominantly Jewish in South Africa. And so all my life I had to face a lot of challenges, dangers, and public appearances, and you go with the challenge. It's not easy. I remember getting off from a Boeing 747 in the United States, and everyone went through. And because I was Sheika Koutha with my hijab and my niqab, I was asked to stand one side and the sniffer dogs must do his job. So this is the price you pay for humanity, mashallah, but it's a beautiful price, subhanAllah, if it's for Allah and for Islam.
One of the projects that your organization gets involved in that I was quite interested also was a building project. How did that come about?
I have been in a very beautiful building project before, alhamdulillah, where I erected an Islamic center, masjid, come offices, mashallah, tabarakallah. So that serves its purpose today. So you're looking probably at the value today of about 5 to 10 million rand. I'm very proud, myself and my dad and a few good people in the ummah, we achieved that, alhamdulillah. So the reward goes on, as the hadith mentions, sadaqah jariyah, which is recurring forever, subhanallah. So now we have the need, not being in a permanent building, alhamdulillah, it's difficult. So when you, especially with our projects, it's relief work, it's da'wah, it's feeding, it's ladies empowerment, it's public speaking, it's reaching out, it's family management, it's crisis, it's just got so many diversities, it's unreal. And for that you need big space. You can't operate, in a small concentration camp or somewhere where you don't have the facilities, because the more you reach out, the bigger the needs become and the more the responsibility and the finance. So inshallah, we're hoping that there are some great people, we have no doubt. This is an amazing South Africa with amazing ummah. And my dad always used to say, everybody loves you, my child, you just carry on with the good work and Allah will open the sama for you, subhanallah, as Allah mentions. Mashallah.
So the building project that you were involved in, what did that entail?
Well, that was...
Were there a few or just one specific?
One specific, mashallah, with all those entities.
I see.
So at the current moment, we want to achieve one like that again, inshallah, with the mercy of Allah and the help of great people out there, I mean.
What's your organization looking like at the moment? How many people are you? Are you just in the Western Cape at the moment?
We are just in the Western Cape at the moment, but alhamdulillah, because I've reached out to Garissa, Kenya, many parts of South Africa, Zimbabwe, Nairobi, the East, the West, the North, alhamdulillah. We've achieved projects in so many parts of the world. Every year we do Qurbani in India and Malawi as well. Alhamdulillah, we work in conjunction with other organizations. So alhamdulillah, that's where the name international, because international, sometimes people confuse international with broadcasting maybe. International, in most cases, is where you've done an achievement in that particular company or country physically. So that is the true meaning, alhamdulillah. And we can only thank Allah Ta'ala for the achievements, because all good only comes from Allah. So yes, alhamdulillah, so that is where the need is at the moment.
As a humanitarian organization, where do you find the most need is at the moment? I mean, not just looking at your projects that you currently do, and I can imagine that you're making such an amazing difference. But I'm sure you chat to other organizations. I'm sure you chat to like-minded individuals. What's the conversation around the table?
At the moment, it's politics, humanitarian, people's rights, the needs of mothers, abused people, poor communities, and the list goes on. So it's almost like the more you reach out, the more the need becomes, subhanallah. But the wonders about this work is that it's just so amazing. When someone stops you in the road and you forgot that you helped them at a particular point in time, and the person comes up and thanks you, you forgot, because the hadith is clear. Allah mentions. And that motivates you, like you mentioned earlier about, wonderful work and things. And you tell yourself, mashallah, there's good people out there that appreciates, and that motivates you to achieve greater things, subhanallah.
I would often imagine that the need changes from country to country. The political climate changes from country to country. How do you navigate handling that? Because what we face in South Africa, Malawi and Sudan and wherever else may face different obstacles. So your approach would be different.
Absolutely. Like, for example, if I fly off to the United States, I wouldn't imagine it will be, maybe a public lecture live on television, or for a school or a university, maybe women in need for counseling, for management skills, whatever. If you go to Zimbabwe or Africa, it would be a different need. If you go to Malawi, it would be pure, maybe poverty or people in need of schooling or education or relief work. Like you rightfully mentioned, every specific town or country has a different need. Absolutely.
All right. It's always nice hearing about some of the great work organizations like yourself do, because it encourages us to get more involved, and we're going to tell our viewers after the break how they can get involved. But important to highlight the need that is out there, because, you know, we can be so displaced when it comes to a road away from where we stay. The need is right there.
Allah.
You know, and we just need to focus and keep our eyes open and, you know, keep those people in our du'as as
Absolutely,
well.
absolutely.
We're chatting to the founder of Sheika Koutha International Projects around some of the great work that they do. After the break, we're going to chat about some of the other amazing projects that they do and how you, the viewer, could get involved and assist where possible. You are still watching Hilaal Live.